Welcome back to the channel, hosers. Today's a video that's long overdue. I've wanted to do a what is the one pistol you should get, or the one pistol if you could only have one video. So I brought a bucket of well, I guess a bag of guns down to just go through some of my pistols and pros and cons. I'll try to keep it quick. This is long overdue because I can't let my wife see exactly how many guns I have. I can only tell her so many times that I've changed the grips or painted them until she catches on. Lucky for me, she's not the brightest. Today she was going out to drop something off at some dude's house, and I looked through her bag and she packed a couple of condoms, and it's like, what are you doing? You don't even have a penis. What are you going to use the condoms for? Like, so I mean, she's not the brightest, but nevertheless, that's my wife. So let's dive into this bag of guns and see what we got. Well guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's a special day. We've reached, as you can see, 69,000 views for the channel. I've been looking forward to the 69 milestone for quite a while, so we did it. So I'm just going to dive on in and give you a quick update. A couple of my friends have just recently did the course in Canada to get their gun license, and they've asked me, what gun should I get? And the first thing I always tell people is try to be honest with yourself. If you would have asked me, 14, 15 years ago, do you think you'd have 20-something odd guns? I would have said there's no way in hell. But guns are funny like that. You put them in your safe, and I don't know if it's the dark or the moisture, but they tend to multiply. Guns don't just stay there by themselves. They need partners, they need friends, and I'll be honest, I don't think I know a single person who only has one gun. So be honest with yourself. If you really are only going to buy one for, your circumstances or your lifestyle, or, if you have kids and you don't want guns in the house, fine. Then I'll try to do my best to help you out. If you have any questions with what I have here, just let me know. But guns are like automobiles, like motorcycles, like computers maybe. They suit specific needs. There's very few that do everything really well. So know what you want the pistol for. In Canada, we can't use them for self-defense. So for us, it's either plinking or, thanks Doobie, it's either plinking or competition for the most part. So what I'm going to give you here is my opinion without the option of personal self-defense or concealed carry. So let's just dive on in. I didn't really make notes here. I'm just going to try to keep this quick and then tell you if I could only keep one gun, which one would it be. I'll just give you high level of each one, and we'll dive on in. So first and foremost, the one that you should avoid if you are going to start getting pistols is the showpiece collector piece. This here is a anniversary edition 1911. It's the 100 year from Smith & Wesson. As you can see, it's got fish scale serrations, engraving. It's numbered. I believe only 250 came into Canada. And I think because this is the international, I think they made 5,000 in the United States. So I bought this one in 2011. It sat in my safe for 7 years before I finally shot it. I've only put two boxes of 50 through it, 100 rounds. It's a 1911. We'll get into the 1911 later, but for here, I just want to say, stay away from the showpiece. If you're only going to buy one gun, buy a workhorse. Buy something that you're going to use, buy something you're going to enjoy, and not something that's going to sit in the safe for 7-8 years, never getting used, never wanting to take it out because you're worried it's going to get scratched. I don't want to say I regret buying this one because I do think it's beautiful, but again, in Canada, you can't do anything with it except bring it to the range. You can't even keep it on display in your own house. It has to be locked up in a safe. So this thing sits in the dark. Stay away from the showpiece gun. Come on, dude. Stay here. All right, next we'll get into just a regular 1911. Beautiful gun. I like them. Heavy, steel frame, steel slide. The timeless design has been around for over 100 years. Grips are plentiful. You can find any type of grip you want. These are aftermarket VZ grips, very aggressive. It's a great shooter, very easy to shoot, very thin. It's a single stack. This one here is in 45. So the only downside I'd say to this is, 8-round capacity. They do sell 10-round magazines. However, I find that this one doesn't like many of the 10-round magazines, so I stick with the 8s, and it works fine. Problem with 45 is it gets expensive to shoot, has a lot of recoil. I'd say stay away from 45 if you're only getting one pistol. I would probably stick with a more common caliber like a 9, only because they're plentiful normally. I know right now there's a shortage with what's going on, so 9mm is hard to find, but 45 is expensive. You know, if as you get older, I hear a lot of people complaining that it's a handful to shoot. I don't mind shooting it, but I will admit, you know, after a couple boxes, it does start weighing on you. You can't shoot it as fast as 9mm, but beautiful guns. They, you know, there's a reason that they're still selling really well over 100 years later. You know, for the most part, you can get them pretty customized with ambi, safety and slide release. So this one does have an ambi, but you know, great shooters all around, great shooters. If you like the weight of it, then the 1911 is a great option. Just know that it is going to be a little bit on the expensive side to shoot. Next, we'll get into this one is a 22. You know, nothing wrong with a 22 if you're worried about your budget. You can shoot, you know, $7 to $10 per 100 rounds is a steal. You could shoot this all day for next to nothing. Very accurate. This one here is the Smith & Wesson Victory. It comes with the rail, so you could even put a red dot on it. High glow, the fiber optic is really bright in daylight. Soft shooter, very accurate. The only problem with this is if you are only going to have one, you might get bored of this a little bit quick. It's one of those guns that, you know, you could shoot all day and it's fine, but at the end of the day, it kind of feels like a BB gun air pistol, just because it works so well. So again, if you're only going to have one, for me personally, I would go with a 9mm and I'd stay away from 22. But this is an awesome option. This I'm showing you this one because out of all my 22s, this one seems to work with the widest variety of ammo, and super easy to take care of and clean. You know, it just comes, there's a screw here, barrel comes out, comes apart. As compared to the Brownings or the Rugers, it's a little bit easier to clean and take care of. So that's a really good 22 option. So next we'll get into competition guns. So I've got here a CZ Orange and a Sig X5. These guns are built for competition. They shoot really well, really fast. This one has, you know, the mag well integrated in, a super flat trigger with 1.5 pound pull. The slide rides on the inside, as you can see. So the slide rides on the inside of these rails, which, you know, helps control the muzzle rise and mitigate recoil. You've got a gas pedal here. So this phenomenal shooter, absolutely easy to shoot. It's a tack driver with a 5.4-inch barrel. The problem is it's incredibly heavy and it's big. As you can see, you know, it's a handful. You know, compared to something like an M&P, you'll see how big it really is. Like, look how much bigger it is. It's a lot heavier. So this, you know, this would be a nice gun if you were only going to have one and compete. But if you're only going to have one gun and you know, you're not really into the competition, price of entry is $2,100 Canadian, so it's not a cheap gun. From what I've been reading about these online, they can be a little quirky. I've heard that this screw comes out and there's been failure to eject. I myself haven't had any problems with it yet. I've only got about 700-800 rounds through it. I love it, but this is more of a competition gun. So this is, you know, the analogy would be, it's like driving a Ferrari on the street. You know, driving a Ferrari at 60 kilometers an hour or 55 miles an hour. There's no emotion. It does it so well that you won't even notice it. This gun really begs to be shot fast. And that's obviously in competition. So, you know, for just having one gun to do everything, this, you know, this could be a bit pricey, and it's really big. So just bear in mind, these guns are both really big. This one is all steel, and I believe this is a exactly 5-inch barrel. You know, it's got nice grips and everything. Single action only, but again, heavy. This one is, They go for $3,000 now, so this one's even more expensive. In Canada, this would run you $29.99, and then $100 for the grips. So it's pricey. Great shooter. Wouldn't buy these. I would not buy either of these if I could only have one pistol. So if I was competing primarily, then yes, but if I wasn't, then no. Next is a big old revolver. I love revolvers. I think they're a ton of fun. This would easily be, if I could only have two guns, this would be my second gun. This is a 460 Magnum, and I mean, look how big this is. This thing weighs over 6 pounds. So look how big it is. This thing weighs 6 pounds loaded. It shoots fireballs. People from 3 or 4 ports over will come over to ask you what you're shooting. This one never fails to put a smile on my face, but it would be a terrible only gun. It's $2 a shot for 460. It's expensive to shoot. Costs $2,200 just to get it, so it's incredibly expensive, and you definitely cannot shoot this for more than 10-15 rounds at a time. One, because it's heavy, and two, because it costs a fortune. But definitely 100%, if I could only have two pistols, this would be the number 2. I would have one as my workhorse, and then one to make me smile, and that would be this one. Great revolver. I don't think you can go wrong with any revolver, if you're only going to have one. It's just me personally, I like to shoot a little bit quicker. I like to shoot fast and have fun and do reloads and just do mag dumps. So revolvers don't really fit that very well, so that's why that would be my number 2 gun. So basically, I mean, we all knew it's going to come down to 2 or 3 pistols. Glocks are here for a reason. You can't go wrong with a Glock. They do everything you ask it to, and then some. Watch YouTube videos, because I'm not going to show you my Glocks being dumped in mud, but you could put these in mud, you could put them in sand, you could put them in water. They always work. The only bad thing I'd say about the Glocks these days is that the price of entry has gone up tremendously. When I bought my first gun, these things were about $5.99. You can get a Glock for $600, and now in Canada, this thing here is $940 in Canada. So I'm not going to say whether it's worth it or not, because I bought it first of all, but I do love this gun. I like it a lot. However, if I was buying one gun, I think I would still stick with the M&P or the Sig Sauer Legion instead. So these would be my short list. So I'll go through these. Again, nothing wrong with the Glocks. I love the Glocks. I just think, and I don't know if it's just in the back of my head that I see a $600 gun masquerading now as a $1,000 gun. I don't know if it's mentally, I just can't get past the fact that they've gone up so much in price, where the M&P has pretty much actually gone down in price. These two guns, for me personally, do the exact same thing. I like this one to shoot better, but I like the grip swells on this better. You see they come with interchangeable, and they just have more texture and more girth to them. So I kind of like these better, but I definitely like shooting this one better. But this was $549. This $900 and I think $38, something like that. So $400 more than this, and for me personally, they do the exact same thing. That $400, it went into buying new sights and a cool paint job, and I'm still less than what this costs. Now, if you are gonna, look for aftermarket parts, obviously the Glocks are much better for aftermarket support. Everyone makes Glock things. You've got Zev, you've got Dawson Precision. Everyone makes Glock parts. So if you are going to customize it, then Glock is better. But again, taking price into consideration, you have a $400 premium. So my short list are these two. $549. I paid $1,349 for the Sig Legion. This I use for IPSC, and I love it. I find that I could draw it from the holster and shoot it really fast. Incredibly easy to control. As far as reliability goes, with every gun here is completely reliable. Do not worry about reliability with these guns. Maybe that little 22 might get caught up on a few rounds, but with CCI, it runs perfect. I have a bad habit of, if a gun is not reliable or if it's having consistent problems, I usually sell it. So all these guns are super reliable. I'm not going to say one is more reliable than the other, just because, like I said, they're all reliable from my sample size. So Smith & Wesson does everything well. I don't mind beating this up because at the end of the day, it's a $549 gun. And, you know, it works. It does everything I've ever asked it to. I've actually owned 4 or 5 of these between the generations. And when I say this all goes for Generation 2. So Generation 2 has a better trigger, better ergos on this, and a beefed up rail. So great gun, $549. This would be my option if budget was a consideration, you know, bigger consideration, this one. If I was only going to buy one and truly buy one, definitely would be the Sig Sauer Legion. This gun is probably one of my most favorite guns. I like the tactical orange a lot, but if I had to choose to keep only one, it would be this one. This one is lighter. It handles extremely well. It's got phenomenal sights right out of the box. It just shoots really flat. It's got a tremendous flat trigger. So you can see this trigger, it has a little bit of pre-travel, but once you hit it, it just breaks. Reset. Incredibly short, and it's just easy. It's got G10 grips, ambi safety, single action only. It has a rail to put a light on, whereas the Tactical Sport Orange doesn't. Again, this is for competition. This is more for personal defense and duty. So, you know, you could put a laser on this. SIG 226s are known around the world. I mean, police forces use them. They're reliable. They work. Fit and finish is tremendous on it. It's got an aluminum frame with a stainless steel slide, and this thing is an absolute tack driver. Shoots really well. It's got the G10 grips that are just aggressive enough that after, you know, 30, 40, 50 rounds, you're not going to slip. I have used this for a few IPSC matches. I just don't like using it because it's a single action only, so it's a different, it's not a production, which I normally shoot. So the M&P will let me shoot production, and this one would let me shoot, well, would make me shoot limited, is it? Yeah. So anyways, if I was to spend a little bit more, this would be the one and only gun I would have. You can't go wrong with a 226. I think everyone would agree that, you know, 226 are good at what they do, and you're not going to have any major problems with them. I don't know if they're as reliable as a Glock again, but for me, I've had 0 malfunctions with this that I can remember that were not user error. You know, it's got front stippling here. I've done a video on this. Again, I wanted to keep this short. I didn't want to go into too much detail. I just want you to know that that this would be my one and only gun if I could only keep one to do everything. I could compete with this, no problem. I could use it for planking. If I was in the United States and was allowed, I could use this for carry because it's small enough. It's a 4 1/4 barrel. It's got a tremendous, I think they call it a PVD finish. I think it looks beautiful. And at the end of the day, this trigger is second only to the Tactical Sport Orange. And, you know, for 1,300 bucks, I think I got this on sale for $1,350. I think it's a steal. And so that would be it. So anyways, guys, this goes out to a couple of my buddies who are looking to buy a pistol. If you have any questions specifically, hit me up, let me know. I know I kind of rushed through everything. I just wanted to give you a high-level overview of pistols and what to expect. All right? GoPro, stop recording.